is Rachel Castle, and my research was on fitness trackers and physical activity. The purpose of this research was to identify a 21st century information technology that is affecting our cultural values with regards to personal behaviors. I'm going to do this by addressing fitness trackers' influence on what users value and how they behave. Ultimately, the question that I strive to answer is, how do fitness trackers affect their users' physical activity? Fitness trackers are supposed to encourage a healthier lifestyle. However, research shows conflicting results on the influence of these devices. In order to analyze fitness tracking devices, I'm going to assess their perceived uses and outcomes compared to their actual impact on their users' physical activity and diet. When purchasing a fitness tracker, most of the consumers believe that they're taking the first step to living a healthier life. However, this perceived purpose isn't always the actual outcome. There are many types of fitness trackers on the market. They come in all sorts of shapes and sizes, from brands like Fitbit, Garmin, Misfit, Apple, and Polar. They have coinciding apps as well that display the data that these devices collect. They're designed to track the user's daily consumption, input and output, by using sensors and algorithms, which then display this data on their mobile device through the associated app. In the United States, 60% of adults track their weight, diet, and physical activity daily. Let's analyze the benefits. So fitness trackers are an easy means of collecting a daily input and output data of their user. They track and record exercise, steps taken, heart rate, caloric intake, and the estimated amount of burned calories. This information is used in the application to assist in developing their plan and tracking their progress. On the apps, they can make a plan to reach their desired goals, whether that be to lose weight, maintain their current weight, or gain weight. They are also able to set a time frame in which they desire to meet those goals. The app produces for them a generalized caloric intake and exercise expectation to meet those goals. It's individualized to the user's gender, current weight, and activity level. But that's not all. They also have extra features as they become more competitive and more brands come out. They have socially embedded features now that links the fitness trackers to social media sites like Facebook. They can share progress with their friends and motivate themselves more through that manner. Additionally, users can connect with each other through the fitness trackers app. They can motivate and even compete to try to push to meet their goals. Beyond that, they're also striving to make more accurate measurements with these devices, to record the heart rate during their workout to identify peak performance times, and also give a better reading on the calories burned. But despite all these positives, there are pitfalls of these products as well. One of those being data overload. Some of the users don't necessarily understand what encompasses a healthy body composition, the general basics of nutrition and metabolic functions when it comes down to breaking macronutrients and the proper way to gain your calories throughout the day, let alone good ways to exercise and great ways to recover as well. The inability to understand this data can sometimes be frustrating and discouraging for the users, and it can decrease their drive when they do not reach their goals as they expect to. Ultimately, this decreases the long-term value of fitness trackers because 33% of their users abandon the device within the first 6 months. Thus, they're unlikely to inspire a healthier lifestyle in such a short time span. This is depicted in the University of Pittsburgh's Physical Activity and Weight Management Center's research on fitness trackers. This will be our first case study. They took 500 volunteers of men and women who were overweight and seeking to lose a few pounds. For the first 6 months, all of the group stayed together and they were given a regimented program. It was a low-calorie diet and a goal of 100 minutes of physical activity a week. Then the two groups were broken up into an experimental and a control group. The control group was to continue as they were in the first 6 months on their own. The experimental group was given a fitness tracker to go around their arm and to help encourage their activity. After 18 months of being separated and doing their respective assignment, the outcomes were interesting. After a total of 2 years, the control group lost an average of 13 pounds, and the experimental group, 8. A scientist at the Physical Activity and Weight Management Research Center explained that this could be due to the experimental group's focus on the technology, which actually ended up inhibiting the volunteers from reaching their goals. According to the authors of Activity Trackers, Prior Motivation, and Perceived Information and Motivational Affordances, there are 3 determining factors on whether or not someone has a positive outcome from using a fitness tracker. The first of those being the presence of primary self-motivation. This is due to the own individual drive of the user. They desire to be healthier, and they're using the tracker as a tool rather than a guide. The second determining factor is the perceived affordance of its informational output. Only a select few users, known as quantified selfers, have this lasting interest in the data itself. This is because they understand and can manipulate it to fit their goals. The third determining factor is appeal and novelty. This is pure user attraction to the device itself. Because it's the newest, the latest, the greatest, and the most popular, this drive and desire to gain an understanding of it is what keeps them interested in the fitness tracker. Ultimately, motivational affordances are only associated on behalf of the user's self-motivation. This means that secondary motivation is the key to a positive influence from a fitness tracker, not the device alone. In the next case study we'll look at, it's from the New York Times articles, Can a Fitness Tracker Help You Run a Better Race? This article addresses a runner's perception of fitness tracking devices along with that of a coach and a doctor. According to Running USA's 2017 National Runner Survey, 82% of runners like to track their running statistics, and 65% of them say that it helps them train better. However, the experts say that this perceived advantage has caveats to it. Dr. Marshall reported to the New York Times that quantifying the data on their training enables users with personality traits to make it harder for them to progress. It affects athletes with issues like anxiety. Coach Beagley fortifies this idea that quantification can be detrimental by explaining that some athletes have the tendency to harp too hard on their training rather than the whole picture. They focus too hard on running harder, faster, than resting and recovering, getting the proper nutrition, and sleeping. Ultimately, we sought out to understand how fitness trackers affect their users' physical activity. And as we've seen, some research showed that fitness trackers can have a positive influence, but it can also discourage physical activity from the individual if they don't contain their own motivation. The drive to find a healthy lifestyle on their own is key to having a positive influence from these devices. In fact, fitness trackers can be counterintuitive to the production of a healthy lifestyle by information overload or depressing the user's motivation, or even encouraging it too much. This 21st century information technology has the power to influence behaviors, however, does not always influence the behaviors in the way that it's designed to do. I appreciate you taking your time to learn about this research. I hope you enjoyed it. These are my resources.